What does it mean? It says the angels in heaven proclaim 3 times a day, glory, glory, glory is the Lord of hosts. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole world proclaims his glory. Whoever brought this water, thank you very much.
I think Deborah.
Which Devorah?
Couple of
The second year, the level 2 Deborah.
Level 2 Devorah.
Yeah, which is Brazilian also.
Okay, Brazil, from Brazil.
Exactly.
Okay.
2 Deborah.
So are you here on this list, Devorah? I don't
Yeah,
see her.
yeah.
Yes, Devorah.
Finally, I'm in the list.
Bogarici?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I said. Did I say it right?
you said perfect.
Wow. Okay. Circa, no. Malka Lavana is here.
yes.
Who mentioned your name to me yesterday? Rabbi Gold.
Oh, Elliot, Rabbi Elliot.
Rabbi Eliezer, indeed. Ariel Diamond.
Wonderful.
I'm Rabbi Eliezer, and I go back a long way.
I didn't know that he lives here and then he's at my friend's wedding.
Yeah. Michal, yes, good morning, Michal. ¿Cómo está? Okay, this is how she starts her day. She ends up cuddling with Ariel every day. Shoshan is not here. Hannah, not here. Sarah Mora, not here. Where is everybody today?
It's on the way.
They're on their way. Sharonel, not here.
They're looking up at the sky a little too long.
Tehillah, well, there's a lot to look at today. It's really magnificent. Okay, whose name did I not call? You are
Talia.
Talia. Talia Bentakur.
It's actually Betancourt.
Betson?
Betancourt. It's the letters are switched on.
Betancourt.
Did you say Sarah Bestos?
No, Sarah. Who's Sarah? This is Sarah. Sarah, where are you from again? Ukraine. Mhm.
Shoshana is here.
The Jews from Ukraine that I met over the years tend to be very warm-hearted about Yiddishkeit, as opposed to the Jews from Lithuania and the northern climes tend to be cold and they throw their intellect at you. Like, don't try and convince me of anything. The Jews from Ukraine don't need to be convinced. They love Hashem, they love Yiddishkeit. Yes, you are Sarah. Sarah, what? Sorry, what's your last name? Sarah Abigail.
Yeah.
Oh, here you are, Milligan. Where are you from, Sarah Abigail? What?
Texas.
Texas? Houston, Texas?
Austin.
Austin, Rabbi Levertov. Yeah. Good for you. Good for him. When I ask you where you're from, it's not I'm really being nosy. It's just it's a way of getting to know you and remember everybody better. You know, this is a very big class for me. I'm not used to having such a big class. So I have to work at getting to know everybody. Sharonel made it here. I remember her because she's right here on my right hand. Tehillah isn't here today. And Shoshana from Toronto, Syracuse is here. Is your last name Guido? Yes. Okay. So your name matches what's on the list. Shoshana Guido. Oh, wow, here we go.
Hello.
Hello, this is Tova?
Yes.
That's a good name.
Yeah. Rabbi got jokes.
Okay.
True. Sit maps.
Sofa?
She was here, but I think she went to the other class.
Okay. So what am I looking for? Whose name didn't I call? What's your name? Circa. So Circa. Yeah. Circa. Well, there's another girl from Brazil there in the corner. What's your name again? Leah. Leah, why do I have this mental block on your name? Leah Rappaport? Yes. Leah Rappaport, okay. From Brazil. So is that everybody? Just mention everybody? Anybody I didn't mention? Anna's not here today, right? Sarah Abigail, that's you, yeah?
Rabbi said Mashiach. Said on it. She walked in.
Awesome. Should have talked about Mashiach.
Wow.
Let me see. Who just walked in?
Anna.
Anna, oh, Anna. Hannah. Anna. Anna. Okay. All right. Yesterday, we were discussing this fascinating concept, which I never knew about till I learned it in the Tanya, that everything is made up of 4 basic elements. I studied chemistry in school. They didn't teach us that. A friend of mine, he spent some time in India working with the shaliach there. Who was it? I think it was one of the Piamenta family before he got married. And so there were a lot of Israelis they head towards India. After they do their time in the army, they want to just relax. They go to India and Thailand. And this one young lady came for Passover, showed up for Passover Seder and spent time, and she started learning with him Tanya. And he tried to encourage her to further her learning in the Chabad house, and eventually to go to Tzfas to learn, or to come here. No, she was in the middle of a course. She was studying medicine in the mountains with a guru. And she wanted to finish her course. It was a 4-year course. And she came to this passage about the 4 elements. the makeup of everything, which are fire, water, air, earth. And she said, wow, that's what we also learned this. It's strange that I had to come here and learn this from a guru. And this is here in our own holy Jewish texts all along. He said, yes, it is. You should stay and learn more of them. No, she said, I have to go back and finish my course. And she left. But who knows the impression that it made. And this is another point. I'm going to digress now and tell you another story. This last week, Tuesday, was the last day of an art show by a very, very prominent young Jewish artist, an orphan who happens to be, well, from her father's side. She lost her father, who was my brother, my older brother. And she has become a world famous artist. Her work is displayed in museums all over the world. And she had an art show. So during Sukkot, I could not go to see her show. She lives in the Bronx. She has many talents. She's a musician, she's an artist, she's a writer. And so I made it an extra effort. I took a whole afternoon to go to Manhattan, which I do not enjoy, to find this gallery hidden away behind the New York University in the back roads there, narrow roads. And I went into this gallery. It was a big empty room with her paintings. They're not oil paint, they're all ink on paper. She uses Chinese inks and things like that. Absolutely brilliant, gorgeous, dazzling work. All about light. And I'm walking around, and this elderly lady comes out from behind, like from coming out from backstage. And she says, can I help you? Do you have any questions? So I said to her, this is the June Kelly Gallery. Are you June Kelly? She says, no. And she disappears backstage. And a few minutes later, another, even older lady comes out. And I say, are you June Kelly? She says, yes. And she looks at me and she says, you've been here before. I said, yes, I have. It was several years ago. She says, I remember. I offered you my hand and you wouldn't take it. And I burst out laughing. That all these years it had made such an impression on her that she remembered me and that incident immediately and associated it with my niece whose show she was presenting. What's the point of the story? The point of the story is that we never know the impact that we have in the world. When you do a good deed, you never know that good deed is an act of God. Simple thing. Giving a coin to a poor person on the street, greeting somebody with a smile, asking them how they are, looking at something you're supposed to look at, like the sky in the morning, not looking at something you're not supposed to look at, like an immodest picture in the big, huge, immodest picture in the airport. You ever notice that? The airports are full of immodest pictures.
Have you been on the New York City subway recently?
What?
Disaster.
Subways?
Subway's a disaster.
Subways, yeah, subways are a mix. Because they're selling different products. Anyway, and when you girls go in the subway or wherever you go, you also make an impact on everyone who sees you because you're dressed different. Because you're dressed modestly. And the rest of the world, most of them are not. Most of the world dress immodestly to attract attention to themselves. Because they think that that's going to help them get what they're missing in life, which is love. And they notice, whether they notice you consciously or subconsciously, it has an effect that you're different because, why are you different? And it registers in the back of their minds subliminally that you have a set of values that are from a higher source. And that affects them. And it causes them to be a little bit, teensy-weensy bit more modest and circumspect and respectful in their behavior. And here's a case in point. Here's a woman 8 or 9 years later. Remember that I didn't shake her hand. She wasn't upset. I thought it was rather humorous, and she also took it in a good. And then we went on to speak about the quality of the work and what it stands for and what it means. Why does a man not shake the hand of a woman and vice versa? Well, for modesty, for modest reasons. I remember hearing a story about the previous Rebbe. That some philanthropic woman offered him her hand. He didn't take it. And in order to explain why not, he said, I was raised by my father never to touch something that doesn't belong to me.
Beautiful.
And the modesty extends. I studied literature in my undergraduate days. And there's a book I read called Sentimental Journey from the 17th century by a man called Stern. He's a humorous writer. And he describes going into a store to buy something, and there was a lady who was waiting on the customers, and she showed him something, and he put his hand on the counter, and her hand touched his hands, and for a moment of, who knows, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, whatever it was, he was enamored. He was deeply emotionally involved with this lady who was available. Maybe she probably wasn't married, yeah. And his heart flamed up. I read another book in those days, reading literature from France, a French novel, a famous French novel about a woman who maintained a salon of artists and literary figures. And he describes how sitting at the table where all these people ate, he sat close to her, and under the table, his foot touched her foot. Nowadays, what does it mean? Something like that, touching the hand of someone or a foot touching them. Nowadays, people are very open. A hand, a foot is nothing nowadays. People go around without even clothes on. But you see, in those days, they were more modest. They dressed more modestly. And the point of both of these incidents that I read was that the slightest thing can cause the emotions to flare up, which goes to the end. Goes all the way. So when you go in the subway and you dress modestly and you behave modestly and you talk modestly, you don't yell and scream like other people in the subway, believe me, it has a profound impression on the people who don't say anything to you, but it affects them. And this was driven home to me when I went to this art gallery, and this elderly lady was obviously a highly intelligent lady. She put together this art show, did a very good job of doing it with all kinds of literature and flyers, souvenir booklets, and so on. But she remembered years before that we didn't shake hands. I took that as a very important lesson. Okay, so now we're learning that everything is made, every one of us, now back to the ranch, every one of us is made up of these basic four elements: fire and water. Now we all know that we're made up of fire and water because fire, you're warm, we're warm-blooded, as opposed to reptiles, which are cold-blooded creatures. A reptile has to warm up in the sun. We don't. We like the sun. On a cold day, the sun warms us up. One of my earliest memories as a child in a freezing cold morning is standing in the sun, warming up. But we are warm-blooded. We're almost 100 degrees hot, 98.6 normal temperature. We get a little bit colder than that, we are sick. We are not feeling well at all. If we lose the heat, our body heat. Water, who doesn't have water? Everybody's with their water. We don't go anywhere without water. Most of the human race live near water. Think about it. What did Avraham and Yitzchak do? They dug wells in the desert to make water available to mankind. What did the Palestinians of those days do? The Philistine, they threw stones and earth into the wells. They stopped them up. Things didn't change. There's pro-life and there's anti-life. And Yitzchak redug the wells that his father had established. And he fought to keep them open. That's Yitzchak. Keep the well springs open. And this applies symbolically as well, because there are relationships in which the well springs of feeling and sensitivity are stopped up. And sometimes we have to dig very, very deep to find their source in the heart of our companion. Sometimes you have to dig very, very deep and read and dig again and again and again as these well springs get stocked up. But you know, all of our ancestors, they got married. They met their intended by a well. Yitzchak found Rivka. Rivka was discovered at the well. And Yaakov met Rachel by the well. And King David was anointed by the well. And Moshe Rabbeinu met Zipporah and was saved her and her sisters by the well. Important symbol in our Jewish history. Oh, because that's water. Water in the animal soul, however, these are not necessarily good sources of feeling, because fire causes a person to have a fiery temperament, which is not pleasant. Angry person blows up very quickly, arrogant. Fire rises, so he's always has a superior attitude. Everybody feels it, right? And water is the person who loves pleasure. The lotus eaters, people who like to take drugs and just enjoy life. We're not taking drugs, just enjoying life. Life is a beach. Yeah. Water is the source of all pleasures. That's what it says here in the Tanya, right here, page 45. No, page 46. On page 46, the appetite for pleasures emanates from the element of water, for water promotes the growth of all kinds of things that cause us to have pleasure. Without water, everything is dry. Watch the frying pan. Don't let the food cook too much or it'll get dried up. Nobody will eat it, get burned. Okay? And then comes air. Air is the source of what kind of behavior? What we say. Negative talk. What it constitutes negative talk? Page 46. 3/4 of the way down. What constitutes negative talk? Gossip, slander, making fun of things that are of value. Cynical person, scoffing, or just mouthing off, making a lot of noise, not behaving respectfully, interrupting, embarrassing, humiliating people. That's all from the element of air in the animal soul. Oh boy, am I going to give it to him. Or he was in the middle of making this speech and I made fun of him. Oh, I embarrassed him, put him in his place, but good. That's all the element of air. Yakety yak, don't talk back. Again, drawing on my misspent youth, there was a musical, a famous musical, probably a lot of you have seen it, called The Music Man, about a salesman who goes around, he has to convince people to buy musical instruments. He's going to convince this town of, I forget what it was, Idaho, Boise, Idaho. He's going to convince the whole town that they should have a band. Anyway, they're all, the first scene of this play is all these traveling salesmen. They're traveling around looking for a market to sell things, to earn a living, right? And they're talking on the train, and they sing a song about what they're doing, and it just sounds like chickens in the yard, clucking away. Empty talk. That's all from the element of air. Okay, empty talk, negative talk, talk that doesn't build, talk that destroys. I read a thing just last week that from the Chafetz Chaim, famous teacher of the last century, who had started a worldwide campaign against negative talk of all kinds. And he wrote that when a person wants to say something negative, critical, put someone in their place, and he thinks of how he's going to really give it to them, and he keeps his mouth shut. Those words that he didn't say are like precious jewels to Hashem. In other words, the good things that we accomplish are not just actions that we do. The great merits we can have could be actions that we don't do, things that we don't say. Where we hold ourselves in what's easier, to hold yourself in and not say something delicious, some piece of delicious scandal or gossip, or to say something nice. What's easier? It's easier to say something nice to somebody, to flatter them a little bit, encourage them. It's easier than to hold yourself in when you have something, some really delicious piece of forbidden speech. So that's the element of air. And we are made up of air, aren't we? We have to be breathing all the time. All the time. We never stop breathing. Just like we need to have water. We are like, it says, a human being is a small version of the world. The world has to have air, right? Brazil, major contribution of Brazil to the world is air. The rainforest produces oxygen that we live with. We need it. We have to have air the whole time. We have to have water. The world is 75% water, right? So are we. There's a story about two Hasidim who used to sit in 770 and learn the Hasidus of the Alter Rebbe every day. And they came across a passage where the Alter Rebbe writes that the world is 75% water. And one says to the other, wow, Rebbe writes that the world is 75% water. I came all the way from Russia to America. From France, I took a boat to America. It's true there was a lot of water between France and America, but 75%? I couldn't imagine that 75% of the whole world was water. And the other Chassid was Shmuel. That was the other person's name was Shmuel the tailor, Shmuel the Schneider. And Shmuel said to Rabbi Spritzer, who had a little milk restaurant on Kingston Avenue, he says, yeah, some things we just have to take on simple faith. He said. Some things we just have to take on simple faith. But we are, in fact, like the world, 75% water. That's why if we don't have it, we get what? Dehydrated. We get dehydrated. That means it means water, hydroelectric power. Right? Hydro means water. Okay, and then the fourth element in the animal soul. So we've discovered how fire is in the animal soul, causes you to behave in fiery ways that are not good. And water in the animal soul causes you to behave in ways that are not good, just pleasure seekers, just self-seeking, selfish, indulgence, overeating. Coming back from the wedding, I never should have had that Viennese table. I knew I'm not. That's the element of water in the animal soul. And then there's air, all kinds of negative talk, and then earth. Unlike all the other three, earth is different from all the other three. What is the negative quality of earth? Express it in common parlance. He's a downer. Wow. Not exactly the life of the party. When he comes into the room, everybody feels how? Excited? It's the opposite. What? Boring. Yeah. Two coal miners describing their work. Isn't exactly an exciting job working down in the mine, you know? What does one coal miner say to the other? Oh, look here, look what I discovered, a nice big chunk of coal. If you're looking for a word to describe conversation down in the mine, boring would spring to your lips. Boring. What else? If that was your job, how would you feel about it? Excited? Not exactly. Happy? Not exactly. What's the element of earth in your animal soul? It's sadness and depression, melancholy, laziness. I have no koyach, no energy, no desire to do anything. A busy person, when you need to get something done, you go to a person with a fiery character, he'll get it done. You go to a person who has an earthy character, well, then maybe do it for next Tuesday. Could you loan me some money? I'll pay you gladly next Tuesday. All right, so these are the four elements. Guess what? Okay, we're gonna have to end this class very soon. When I was young, we used to play a game. See, every little thing has a good side to it. The game was a finger game. We used to do things with our fingers that we had to guess what it was. So what do you think this is? What does this suggest to you?
Heart. Oh, I know this.
You know those things, so shh. You know what this is? Okay, Malka, what is it?
It's a spider doing push-ups.
Yes, it's a spider doing push-ups on the mirror.
So cute. But where are its other three legs?
And what, yeah, where are the other three? So what do we learn from this? What deep philosophical principle do we learn from this? We learn from this that everything has an equal and opposite other side. So everything in the negative world of klippa, right? Klippa means the shell. Klippa hides godliness. Everything in klippa has a counterpart. Point, counterpoint. Everything in klippa has a counterpart. So all these four elements have a counterpart in holiness. And that's how we can learn from everything, even from negative things you can learn. Because when you see something negative, you have to think to yourself, how would this same quality play itself out in a holy way? So to give you an example, fire. What would fire be in the godly soul?
Motivation to get things done, a drive, passion.
Passion, warmth, excitement, fire. Souls on fire with love of God. Right? Davening with feeling, with warmth, not cold, just saying the words, going through the motions, but with involvement, with feeling. And air, we said air, the animal soul is the abuse of the gift of speech. Bad speech, negative speech, critical, scoffing, frivolity. So what would air be in the godly soul? Encouraging somebody to do a good thing. What else? Davening, learning, saying words of Torah. What would water be? Water in the animal soul is this pursuit of pleasure. I'm addicted to pleasure. I must have it. Looks so delicious. What would it be in the godly soul?
Trying to please Hashem.
What?
Trying to please Hashem.
Trying to what?
Please Hashem.
Trying to please Hashem. If that gives you pleasure,
Or help someone
does
else.
it give you pleasure? Well, this is a special human quality in the godly soul, is taking pleasure
Help someone else.
in helping someone else. Thank you so much. You say, my pleasure. It was my pleasure. Some people, it's a gift. Some people love helping other people. Hey, there's only 2 Siddurim here. Do you mind if I take that? Go, be my guest. It feels. Earth, this is a toughie. Earth in the animal soul is being depressed and lazy and unhappy. What would earth be in the godly soul?
Down to earth, humble.
You got it. Humility. Humility. Abraham, our first father, said, I'm dust before you, Hashem, I'm dust and ashes. The opposite of pride and prejudice. Okay. Have a great Shabbos, everybody.
Water in the holy is means
Having a geschmack in doing a favor for someone else.
having pleasure, doing a favor.
Yeah. Taking pleasure in doing a mitzvah. Oh, mitzvah, mitzvah. Oh. Would you like to light a Shabbos candle? Yeah. Whoa. I'm so glad you called me in time. Oh, Baruch Hashem. You light the candle. You say, oh.
Is this water?
It's water in the animal soul, in the godly soul.
I like the cow water. Why water?
Because water gives rise to everything that's pleasure. Water is a source of pleasure.
Nothing.
A person does a mitzvah dry, no pleasure. Some people are very dry, cut and dry, intellectual. Some people they're moist. You feel you can grow. It's a pleasure to be with them. Happy people. Okay, I urge you girls to pair up in 2s and 3s and to review what we discuss in class, because we tell a lot of stories. You'll forget all the stories if you don't review them. And the stories are teachings.
There's another story to explain that.
Say it, please.